It's Annie with the Right Review of the Right Reviewers Book Club. For some reason, I wasn't able to connect with Colette a minute ago. So we're trying again. Hopefully there's not going to be an issue. Hi, Serena. Okay. It's saying I can add Serena. So that's good. And it's saying I could add Jane. Yes. Houston. Hi, Jane. How are you? Hi, Carol. Hi, Serena. All right. So, hi, Colette. Hi, Barbara. I don't know. Hold on. Hold on. We're adding Colette. Woo-hoo-hoo!
We got there in the end.
We got there in the end. You're crooked. Can you turn your camera?
Oh, I don't know what's happened. I turned my phone.
There you
go. Okay, there
Perfect.
I am.
Hi, how are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. Sorry, I take my reading glasses off.
It's okay. You look great with glasses on. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Thank you. So I'm just going to wait a little bit for some more people to come on. So we have Carol, Jane, Serena are all on here. So all right. So we do have a few people on here. So my name's Annie. I'm with the Right Review, and this is Colette. I've known her since I'm very excited to have her on the Right Review. Thank you for joining us. She has, let me introduce you. She has written 4 novels. The first novel she wrote was in 2014, which was The Blue and Green Should Never Be Seen, or Mother Says, or So Mother Says, which is a wonderful, great debut novel. I reviewed it and gave it wonderful stars. You have to read it. And then The Retail Therapist, which is about to come out on audiobook as well, with additional scenes, which has a British narrator, which is going to be phenomenal. That I also gave wonderful 5 stars to, which we're going to discuss. Then that was out in 2015, which I couldn't wait for. It was very exciting. Needed to know what was going on with Gigi and Richie. And then she came out in 2019. I know you had another one in between, but in 2019 she came out with Arbitrage, which was like a financial crime thriller, totally different genre. The other ones were chick lit, women's fiction, police procedural, which is also getting 5-star reviews. And she also has Confessions from the Cotton Fields, which is a Western erotica novel. So which is also getting 4 and 5-star reviews. So
now I'm blushing.
So she has 3 different genres that she has touched. So she's she's touched different genres, which is pretty interesting to me. So let me just show the covers first. I love these covers, first of all, which we're going to discuss. I mean, look at this. And what's so cool is touching the books. They're so nice. This is Blue and Green Should Never Be Seen, or So Mother Says, and The Retail Therapist, which is phenomenal. So why don't you tell us, about the books?
Okay, Blue and Green Should Never Be Seen, or So Mother Says, was my book baby. Not the first book I'd written, but the first book I'd published.
Okay.
The other one still sits in the drawer tucked away. That's a bit like J.K. Rowling. It's a fantasy novel. The other one.
Yet another genre.
Yeah, yet another genre. I like to flit around, and I do what I find interesting to me at the time.
Okay.
I write about what's interesting to me at the time, but I do revisit genre. So I am going to be doing a sequel to Blue and Green.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Doing it. I've been making notes while I've been editing the audio books. I've been making notes about where to go next in the sequel.
That's fantastic.
So that is on the cards.
That's great.
But Blue and Green came about because I love the Sophie Kinsella Shopaholic books. And also because I, at the time, was a legal secretary, so I had knowledge of the legal environment, which is where Gigi starts off.
Right.
But I'd been made redundant from my job and was struggling to find something to fill my time whilst job hunting, which I never ended up doing. I never ended up job hunting. I got it stuck into writing. I re-found my creative side. I've had a creative side to me throughout my life, but the day-to-day doldrums of a paid PAYE job, as we call them in the UK, sort of quashed my creative side quite a bit, and so these days I'm finding that all I'm doing is creative stuff.
Okay.
Apart from running a household and dealing with my two waggly tails and things like that, I'm letting my creative side run riot almost.
Well, that's good. Well, we need you to get another chick lit novel out because it's so good. Let me tell you a little bit about so Blue and Green Should Never Be Seen. Gigi, she is just a little spitfire. She a lot of people say, waiting on the movie version, two people like me and I believe it was Kate Rock actually said Spitfire, very entertaining, awesome chick lit. She is a cross between Devil Wears Prada, Bridget Jones's Diary. She looks at people and analyzes their fashion makeup, like how to fix their fashion sense. And it's very entertaining to read everything she has to say. So basically, she wants to open a fashion consultant business, but more so like how she can fix everybody's, more than just their fashion sense, but everything about
their lives as well.
So it's a lot of fun. So she gets her best friend involved, who's Richie, and they open it in a shed. And it's so much fun, and how it all comes together is very exciting, and you fall in love with all of the characters involved, and at the end of it, you're like, could we get some more? And, the thing of it is, I don't feel like enough people have read the book. I feel like more people need to read the book because it's so fabulous. And that's the thing that gets me the most. The book is so good. So, I want to spread. I wish I could just go above above the world and just spread the joy, spread the book to everybody.
I consider that almost every author would want to do that about their books. But
that's true.
But the way you infuse about mine is fantastic, and I love you for that.
Oh, thank you. So, now there's a reason why you love fashion and why you love putting friendship and love at the time, center stage into your novel, because not a lot of people know, but I didn't just start interviewing authors, right?
No, you didn't.
Right. I've been interviewing authors for quite a few years, but I used to just do it on the blog in writing. So I interviewed you quite a few years ago, and you had told me that fashion, you loved fashion, and tell me the reason why, or your mother said so, was in your title.
Also, Mother Says is because my own mother, apart from having instilled in me, to some extent, my fashion sense, which she'd learned from her mother and her aunt, and I'd also learnt it from my own grandmother, who was a tailoress for Jaeger.
Wow.
But my own mother, and she is still to this day, and she's becoming worse. The older she becomes, the worse she becomes, as far as this is concerned. But she's quite a nag. And I don't mean an old horse. I mean a nag. She moans and whinges and tries to instill her opinions on me about everything and anything at every opportunity that she has.
Right, that's so, oh my gosh.
And so that is the element of also Mother Says, in some respects. It's
right.
Also an old phrase from way back that the grandmothers said to their daughters and grandchildren, blue and green should never be seen. So it was partly a play on that phrase, because it was no longer relevant, because that's why it was also Mother Says. Because these days, if you look around the fashion houses and wherever you go, you see blue and green together and they look fantastic.
Right.
So it was a dual play.
Okay, all right. That's so cool. I didn't know that. Interesting. All right. So now we know that you love Sophie Kinsella books, which are the Shopaholic books. If everybody doesn't know, wonderful books, and you will see that her books do resonate. These books. So if you like Sophie Kinsella, you're going to love Colette's books. Now, is anyone that you know like Gigi?
Oh, Gigi is a little bit of me.
Okay.
She's a little bit of one or two of my friends. One who sadly now is deceased.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But then we were best friends at primary school. So there is a part of my friend, the part of Gigi from my friend that is now deceased. We were very similar because we were best friends growing up together.
Right.
So there's a mix of people in Gigi.
Okay. So that's that. Now you have this memory all the time, which is wonderful.
Yeah,
That's
is.
Great.
It is.
That's great. Now, do you have a favorite character? Is it Gigi? Or do you have somebody else?
I have various favorite characters. If you want, if you, Gigi is my protagonist. She's got to be my favorite.
Okay.
But if somebody said to me that, if you had to pick a villain or an alternative character, I'd want to pick Jasper Barnes. He's the villain of the piece.
Okay.
And of the book, and he is a bit of a nasty piece of work.
Yeah.
He doesn't come across so at the outset, but he is, and
right.
And I loved writing about him.
So does that mean that you like?
But then there's Richie, and Richie is such a fantastic character.
I love Richie. I mean, everyone wants a Richie.
Yeah.
When you're reading the book, you're like, I wish I had a Richie. He's so awesome. He's such a great character. He's just awesome. He's so supportive. He's just so much, and he's so much fun to read about. And he's just awesome. I loved him.
He is, but he also has his own meltdowns from time to time, which is...
Right. But that makes him real.
Yeah.
You know, that makes him real. And I just thought that they were so great together. I love them. They were just so great.
I'm so glad you did.
So, and I still haven't had a chance to listen to the audiobook, because when I went to Rhode Island, I ended up being busier than I had expected. So I'm very excited to listen to the additional scenes. I can't wait. Serena did, and Serena can go ahead and tell everybody she's already written a review about how wonderful it was. So
I saw that, and I appreciate that very much.
So she really enjoyed it. So besides Gigi, do any of your friends and family make it into the book?
Yes.
Yes?
In a very, very small way. For example, there is one spot where Gigi meets a friend near Buckingham Palace for lunch.
Okay.
That is a true scene.
Oh, wow. That's so cool. Now,
I have a friend that works at Buckingham Palace.
Oh, do you really?
Yes. So that is a true scene.
Oh, that's so cool.
And it was too good. It was too good a scene from my actual life to not write it into the story.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's so much fun. Oh, that's so awesome. Now, when you put your friends into the books,
I don't tell them.
You don't tell them. So do you wait and see if they say to you, "Oh, you put me in your book"?
The only one I've told that I've put them into my book is the one that works at Buckingham Palace.
Okay.
And she was fine about that. Because none of the others would recognise the elements of themselves how I've written them within the book.
Right. So, let me ask you this. Let's talk about arbitrage.
Okay.
So you moved on to this different genre, which was the financial thriller, which I read, got, the people that wrote reviews said excellent, procedural, excellent, financial thriller. They were surprised at how awesome it was. Not surprised, but like every time they turn around, they were surprised. That's what I mean by every time I turned around, every time they turned a page, they were surprised at like your twists.
It was fast paced, twists.
Yeah, it was very fast paced.
Fast paced with lots of twists and turns.
Yeah, so
and a surprise ending.
So tell me, like, is this because of your legal secretary?
It is partly. It's partly because of that. Partly because my natural father, because he's now deceased, but I now have a stepfather. But my natural father was a stockbroker on the London Stock Exchange.
Oh, okay. So you got some.
So I had some knowledge about that, and that is partly what turned me towards. Okay, I want a bit of a break. I've had a break from writing because of a home move, and having to deal with new stuff that needed doing to our new home and things like that. But then I wanted, and I'd been writing another chick lit, which is still in the works, and hopefully she'll launch this year, although maybe towards the end of the year. But I wanted just something different to turn my hand to reignite my interest in writing after 2 years or so of being out of writing.
Right. I mean, I remember when that came out, and I like that cover as well. I have that on ebook. So then I forget the year that you wrote the Western erotica, which was like Civil War time, that was
pre-Civil War America.
Pre-Civil War America, erotica. But, it was much more than that because it had a lot to do with also history.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, it's a lot more than just an erotica novel.
No, it has a fantastic story to it. Even despite saying so myself, even the few reviews that it's received so far, because I don't push that one very much. I don't market it very much. But even the few reviews that it has received, one of which is from an American author on the .com website, that is a glowing review, and she loved it, and she wants me to write a sequel.
Well, every review that you ever get is always phenomenal. So I love your writing. It's just they're really good. So I think everyone needs to. And I love all of your covers. So I need to know, how do you come up with your covers?
Okay, the first two were designed or thought of by a cover designer who was recommended to me by one of my previous legal connections.
Okay.
I previously worked with a solicitor whose sister-in-law is a cover designer, and she used to work for HarperCollins.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
HarperCollins.
So who's who came up with the cover for Blue and Green Should Never Be Seen and The Retail Therapist.
Okay. All right.
Arbitrage, she turned away because she doesn't like the genre to work on.
Okay.
So I had to find somebody else, and I did a search on... It was Fiverr, I think. I did a search on Fiverr, and I came across... or a Facebook group. No, it was Fiverr. I did a search on Fiverr, and I came across a gentleman who specialised in thrillers, and he came... and he's quite new. He's American. He's an American, so he's not British. And he came up with the cover, and I loved it to pieces the minute I saw it.
That's a handsome man on the cover.
Yeah.
That's a handsome man on the cover.
There's been quite a few comments and remarks about how handsome he is on that cover.
He's handsome, all right. So, who are your 3 favorite authors?
3, if I had to restrict it to 3... Jackie Collins.
Okay.
First and foremost. Read every one of her books.
Fantastic.
I've got, apart from the last 2, which I have sat on my shelf waiting to be read.
That's awesome.
Then I would say, it would be a toss-up between Sophie Kinsella, because she in part inspired my own first 2 books.
Right.
And so it'd be a toss-up between her and my American mentor, who taught me how to go about self-publishing my books, which is a lady called Donna McDonald.
Donna McDonald.
She writes... the first novel of hers that I read was Dating a Cougar.
Dating a Cougar, I love it.
Yeah. So she writes erotica.
Okay.
But with fantastic stories behind them. But she crosses her genre left, right and centre. She'll write straight erotica, or ordinary erotica, or not an ordinary, because it's not ordinary. But she'll write erotica. Then she'll write sci-fi erotica. Then she'll write chain shifter erotica.
Wow.
And then she starts writing witchy stuff. And so she's quite adaptable. She's written quite a few books.
Okay.
And she's been on the news and whatnot in America as well. But she mentored me as to how to go about self-publishing.
Oh, fantastic. That's great.
Just from me becoming a fan of her books and having conversed with her on Facebook.
That's so cool. Facebook's awesome.
She was fantastic. But then I have other authors that I love and adore. As a child, I loved The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe series. And I also, my first ever memory of reading books or being read books were the Mr. Men books.
Mr. Men?
Yep.
I've never heard
Children's
of
books.
Never heard of them. I guess
They're
that's
called
because I'm an American.
Mr. Men and Little Misses.
Little Misses, I love it.
And they've now started making an adult series of them. So you should look them up.
Okay. Little Misses.
And Mr. Men.
Mr. Men. Okay. Now, I asked you this already. Do you have any hobbies that you'd like to share with us?
Oh, well, I'm a huge foodie, if you can't see from the look of the shape of my face, because I eat too much these days.
Stop, you're beautiful.
I love cooking. I love writing, but I love cooking.
My husband would love you.
But then I've also been gardening, I've been sewing, I do a bit of painting sometimes. I have a lot. I'm one of these people. If something has my attention, then I stick to it. But if I start to feel a bit bored with what I'm doing, I'll find something else to occupy my time, whether it's a bit of DIY, whether it's a bit of gardening, whether it's a bit of sewing, whether it's a bit of, well, reading, obviously, because I do a lot of that, or researching for a new book idea. I like the variety.
Right. So you like your genres. You like to dabble, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So Serena asked, the Little Miss is the shorter, small books that were for kids? Is that? Okay. And now... It
is, and they've now brought out some adult ones.
All right. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, I wish I had the talent to do the sewing and the gardening. My husband wishes I cooked more. I totally kill everything. I try to garden. This is why I also can't write. You totally blow me away here with everything that you do.
No, but you can write, because from your reviews and the way you post your posts on the Facebook book groups, you can write. It's just...
Thank you. Well, I wish I could write a novel. That's what I mean. But thank you. Thank you. When did you realize that you wanted to be a novelist?
Oh, it goes back quite some years. When I was at school, at secondary school, so this was sort of the age of about 14, 15.
Okay.
I wrote a poem. I studied English literature.
Okay.
And I wrote a poem which the school then decided they wanted to put on the wall to display for others to look at. And it was about Arthurian legend. So it was about
what? I'm sorry.
Arthurian legend. So it was about King Arthur and the Lady of the Lake.
Okay.
I never ever copied back that poem back onto a notebook so that I could keep it. So I lost it once it went on that wall.
Oh no.
And I was so upset about that. But that's when I first discovered that I wanted to write.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I've written and dabbled for years in between, but it wasn't until I was made redundant at this stage of my life, compared to when I wrote that poem, that is, that I elected to make some time to do something that I love.
Right, to start writing novels.
Yeah.
That's so great. That's so great. Now, when and where do you typically write?
At the bottom right-hand corner of our lounge diner.
Okay. Now, when? What part of the day?
That entirely depends, because these days sometimes I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm sat at my computer and I start writing, because well, hopefully there's not too many men listening, but I'm menopausal, so...
I don't mean to laugh, so many of us. Yeah, right?
I'm menopausal, so my sleep pattern is a little bit up the creek a bit currently.
Right.
So I'll go to bed at 9 o'clock in the evening, and then I wake up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I come downstairs and I do a bit of writing, I do a bit of book marketing, I do a bit of Facebooking. So currently, because since I've become menopausal, I don't have a set time of day.
Right. Everything's off.
It's all out of kilter.
All off kilter. I think a lot of us understand that. Oh, my earbuds keep coming off. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, so do mine.
So I keep going. So you already told us that. Now, so you said we can expect your book possibly by the end of the year. Now, Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay. That one, the working title for it, which was a phrase that a friend of mine, for going back to secondary school, came out with on Facebook one day, and it was just that one phrase that gave me the idea for the whole book.
Isn't that cool?
And that's the working title of it, and I reckon I'm going to stick to it, and it's going to be called I Don't Do Winter.
I Don't Do Winter. I love it. That's awesome.
And it came from that one phrase. The whole story came from that one phrase.
The whole story came from I Don't Do Winter.
From I Don't Do Winter. And it's about a young lady who is thoroughly peed off with the British weather in the winter time. And so she makes it her mission to find a job that takes her away from the British weather in the winter time.
Okay. That's awesome.
But there's a few twists and turns. There's a few twists and turns in there, and I haven't written the ending of it yet. But I know where it's heading, and it's going to be quite ironic, I hope.
Well, I have a feeling it's going to be. Neats Wilson says, great title, Colette. Tammy Moore says, that's awesome. So, I think that's a great title too. I love that you heard it, you saw it, and it inspired you to write. It did.
That one phrase inspired me no end. I was racing like a train when I first started writing that book, and I was so annoyed that because when I first started writing that book, I was in France on my own for 5 months after we sold our UK home, and we hadn't found a property to buy. And so I was off like a train, writing, and then I had to leave it alone when I returned to the UK because there was so much that needed doing to our new UK home.
Okay. So now it's been on hold and we're waiting.
Editing
You're
mode.
editing. Oh, that's the fun part.
No.
I do want to point out, I did not know that English people said reckon. You just
maybe that's something that I do. It's one of my favourite phrases. I reckon, as opposed to I consider or I think or
I love it,
or something like that.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I have, I'm from, my family's from Ireland. And
I appreciate it.
Yeah, my family's from Ireland, and I never heard any of them say I reckon. So I just love that you just said that. That's awesome. Okay, so this is a neat question. If you could travel back in time to speak with an author from the past, who would you like to chat with?
It would have to either be Jackie Collins,
right,
or Judith Krantz.
May she rest in peace. May she rest in peace.
May they both.
May they both rest in peace. God bless them.
Jackie Collins or Judith Krantz. They're both fantastic authors of books that I devoured in my youth.
Correct. As well, as well as many of us, I'm sure. May they, terrible loss to our industry, especially as of late. My friend worked very closely with Jackie Collins, and loved her. So I've heard wonderful things about her as a person beyond, being an author. So I love that you love her so much. So I think that's fantastic. Barbara, one of the book club members, Barbara, says that she says, I reckon too. I say I reckon as well. That's why I love that you say that. I'm from New York, which we don't say I reckon. I went to college in North Carolina, and we say, I reckon down there. I reckon I did that. I reckon I saw that. I reckon I'll see you on Sunday. So I love that word. I think that's a great word. That's why I love that. I love that. If you were to reread a book that you were to choose to experience again, what book would you choose to read?
Oh, that would have to be the very first book about Lucky Santangelo.
Fantastic. She, Lucky is, what was the name of that book?
Oh, now you're asking. Oh, it was just called Lucky, wasn't it?
Was it just called Lucky or Chance or? Okay, well,
Chances. Was it Chances? Do you know what? I've forgotten. That's completely gone out of my head. Which book what the title was.
Well, anyway, so Lucky Santangelo, awesome character. To be able to write so many books with one character is just phenomenal.
It is indeed.
Yeah, and I'm sure it could still be going on. I just think it's fantastic. Oh, wait. Neat Wilson says he's in the UK, and he says it too, so I'm wrong. The UK. The English, the British people said, I'm sorry, the English, everyone, I apologize. I have family in Ireland, and I never heard anyone but my friends down south say, I reckon. I love it. I think that's awesome. I totally thought it was a Southern American thing. I think that's awesome.
Nix, by the way, is female.
I love that name. I'm learning all these new things. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. See, Serena says that she doesn't say it here in New Jersey. I'm learning all these new things. Oh my gosh. Sorry, Neats. Please forgive me. So, is there any advice you have for anyone that wants to write a book?
Knuckle down and do it.
Just do it.
And while you're doing so, join a few book groups on Facebook, and particularly ones that lean towards authors, and learn as much as you can about how to go about it.
Okay.
If you're lucky enough to find a mentor like I was, fantastic. But there are a lot of book groups out there that are very supportive of each other, of each of their members, and they do impart valuable information
onto you
through onto a person via their posts on the group. It is a process. It's quite a long process. Chances was okay. Thank you, Barbara.
I was Chances.
It was Chances.
Okay, so I'm sorry, Needs. I got that wrong, but I did get the book right for Jackie Collins. I got something. I got something right today. Oh my goodness, I'm so embarrassed. So
No, I'm the one that's embarrassed because I've read all of them, but it was just so many years ago. I couldn't remember which one came first.
As have I. But and Barbara, thank you for looking that up. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. So do you prefer book or ebook?